Waking up groggy, a little stiff, reaching for that first cup of coffee to clear the cobwebs. It's a feeling so common, so universally human. But what if that morning fog, that feeling of not being quite right, was a whisper of something far more serious, a warning from deep within your brain? As a physician who studies the very vessels that give life to our brains, I've seen data that has genuinely shocked me. It reveals a simple, common habit that, when combined with another common occurrence, can dramatically raise your stroke risk, quite literally, overnight. Most people will never make this connection, and 99% will miss the final chapters where we don't just identify the problem, but we illuminate the beautiful biological reason it happens and unveil the simple, elegant path to safeguarding your most precious organ. This is not about fear, this is about unlocking a new level of self-awareness that could save your life. Brain's river. Before we can comprehend the nature of a threat to our brain, we must first hold in our minds a correct and respectful image of what the brain truly is. For too long, we have been told it is a computer, a static piece of hardware. This is a cold and lifeless metaphor. I want you to erase it. Instead, I want you to imagine your brain as a magnificent, sprawling, and ever-active city. It is a living metropolis with 86 billion citizens, your neurons, each one buzzing with life, communicating and working. This city has districts for language, great libraries of memory, and centers of emotion and logic, all connected by an unimaginably complex transit system. This brain city is the most energy-hungry place in your entire body. Though it makes up only 2% of your weight, it greedily consumes 20% of your daily oxygen and calorie budget. To satisfy this ravenous appetite, the city is nourished by a vast and intricate network of rivers, streams, and canals. This is your brain's vascular system, an incredible 400-mile-long web of blood vessels. The health and flow of this river of life is managed by one of your body's 5 great health defense systems, your angiogenesis system. It works in perfect balance to ensure that not a single citizen in your brain city ever goes hungry for oxygen or fuel. This river system is not just a delivery service. It is also the city's sanitation department. As your brain cells work, they produce metabolic waste. It is the job of your blood flow, in concert with a special system called the lymphatic system, to wash these toxins away, primarily while you sleep. The absolute integrity of these blood vessels, their flexibility, their strength, their openness, is therefore the most fundamental requirement for a healthy brain. A disruption to this river of life is not a minor inconvenience. It is a full-blown crisis, an existential threat to the city itself. When we speak of a stroke, we are speaking of a catastrophe that strikes at the very heart of this life-sustaining ecosystem. Stroke's shadow. A stroke is one of the most dreaded events in all of medicine. It is a brain attack. It is the moment when the river of life is catastrophically disrupted. This can happen in one of 2 ways. The first and most common is an ischemic stroke. You can think of this as a massive dam suddenly and completely blocking one of the brain's vital rivers. This is usually caused by a blood clot that travels to the brain and becomes lodged in a narrowing artery, cutting off all flow downstream. Without their supply of oxygen, the brain cells in that region begin to die within minutes. The damage can be swift and irreversible, leading to paralysis, loss of speech, or worse. The second type is a hemorrhagic stroke. This is not a blockage, but a catastrophic failure of the riverbank itself. A weakened blood vessel inside the brain ruptures, causing blood to spill out into the surrounding brain tissue. This blood is toxic to neurons, and the pressure it creates can cause widespread damage. Both scenarios are devastating medical emergencies. But what is so insidious, what we must understand with absolute clarity, is that the final dramatic event of a stroke is often the tragic conclusion of a long and silent process of decline. The factors that create the plaque that narrows the arteries or the conditions that weaken the vessel walls build up over many years. However, a stroke is not always about a chronic buildup of hardened plaque. The acute event, the overnight catastrophe, often has a more immediate trigger. It's about what happens in the blood itself in the final hours leading up to the event. One of the most critical and often overlooked factors in stroke risk is something called blood viscosity. This is quite simply the thickness and stickiness of your blood. Imagine the difference between water flowing freely through a pipe and trying to push thick, cold molasses through that same pipe. When your blood becomes more viscous, thicker, sludgier, and harder to pump, it dramatically increases the likelihood that a clot will form. The shadow of a stroke lengthens when the river of life begins to turn to mud. Silent thirst. Here we arrive at the first part of our shocking habit. It is something so common, so deceptively simple, that millions of us do it every single day without a second thought. I am talking about chronic, unintentional dehydration. This is the silent thirst. Our bodies are composed of roughly 60% water. Every single biological process, every thought, every heartbeat, every cellular repair happens in a water-based environment. When we fail to replenish this vital fluid, a cascade of subtle but dangerous changes begins to unfold. The most immediate of these changes happens to our blood. Your blood is more than 90% water. When you become dehydrated, your total blood volume decreases. Your body, in an attempt to conserve its precious fluid, pulls water out of the bloodstream. The consequence is immediate and mathematical. The liquid portion of your blood, the plasma, shrinks, while the concentration of red blood cells, proteins, and clotting factors goes up. Your blood becomes thicker. It becomes more viscous. This is not a trivial change. For your heart, it means it has to work significantly harder to pump this thicker, sludgier blood through your 60,000-mile network of vessels. This alone can put a strain on your entire cardiovascular system. But for your brain, with its delicate and narrow river system, the implications are even more dire. This thickened blood moves more slowly, increasing the chance for platelets to clump together and for dangerous clots to form, particularly in areas where arteries may already be slightly narrowed or irregular. Many of us live in a state of chronic, low-grade dehydration. We wait until we feel thirsty, but by the time the sensation of thirst registers, our body is already in a state of deficit. We drink dehydrating beverages like coffee, tea, and soda, which can further tax our fluid balance. This habit of neglecting our body's most basic need is the first ingredient in a dangerous recipe. Day by day, we are creating a more viscous internal river, making the job of our heart harder and setting the stage for a potential blockage in the delicate vessels of our brain. It is the first and perhaps most overlooked risk factor that we have almost complete control over. Nightly wash. Now, for the second piece of the puzzle, the second common occurrence that combines with the first to create a perfect storm. It is not something you do, but something you fail to do well. I am speaking of a night of poor or insufficient sleep. We often think of sleep as a passive state of rest, a time when the brain simply shuts off. Nothing could be further from the truth. Sleep, particularly deep sleep, is one of the most active and crucial periods for brain health. During the day, the tireless activity of your 86 billion neurons generates a significant amount of metabolic waste, including toxic proteins like amyloid beta, which is associated with Alzheimer's disease. If this waste were allowed to accumulate, it would be catastrophic for the brain city. This is where the brain's remarkable nightly wash cycle comes in. A specialized system, discovered relatively recently and named the glymphatic system, springs into action during deep sleep. It is a brilliant piece of biological engineering. During this phase, your brain cells actually shrink slightly, which widens the spaces between them. This allows the cerebrospinal fluid, the clear fluid that surrounds your brain, to be pumped along the outside of your blood vessels, flushing through the brain tissue and washing away the accumulated toxins of the day. It is a literal brainwashing, a deep cleaning that is absolutely essential for maintaining a healthy cognitive ecosystem. This system is a core component of your regeneration health defense, a nightly act of cellular repair and housekeeping. The critical thing to understand is that the efficiency of this glymphatic system is profoundly dependent on two things: achieving deep, restorative sleep and having healthy fluid dynamics. Poor sleep, whether from stress, sleep apnea, or simply staying up too late, dramatically impairs the function of this waste clearance system. The sanitation crew essentially goes on strike. This means the toxic metabolic gunk from the day's activity isn't properly cleared away. It remains in the brain, contributing to a state of inflammation and creating a dirtier internal environment that is more conducive to problems. A single night of bad sleep can leave your brain in a measurably more vulnerable state. This is the second ingredient in our dangerous recipe: perfect storm. Now, let us bring these two common factors together and witness the creation of a perfect biological storm, a scenario that dramatically increases stroke risk overnight. Imagine a person at the end of a busy day. They have been rushing around, perhaps drinking coffee or soda, and have neglected to drink enough water. They go to bed in a state of mild, unintentional dehydration. Their blood is already slightly thicker and more viscous than it should be. The river is already running sluggishly. Then that night, they have a poor night's sleep. Perhaps stress is on their mind, or they have a touch of sleep apnea. They toss and turn, never achieving the deep, restorative sleep their brain craves. Two dangerous things are now happening simultaneously. First, the lack of deep sleep means their glymphatic system is not functioning properly. The toxic, inflammatory waste products from the day are not being effectively cleared from the brain. The local environment of the brain city becomes more polluted and sticky. Second, during normal sleep, blood pressure naturally drops, and blood vessels tend to dilate slightly, which can further slow down blood flow, especially in a system that is already sluggish due to dehydration. This combination, thick, viscous blood moving slowly through an inflamed and sticky environment, is the absolute perfect setup for a blood clot to form. This risk becomes most acute in the early morning hours. This is a time when our bodies naturally experience a surge in blood pressure and stress hormones to prepare us for waking up. For a heart that is suddenly asked to pump with more force, pushing sludgy, thick blood through the brain's delicate, uncleansed vessels, this can be the final straw. It is the moment when a clot, having formed overnight in this perfect storm, can be dislodged and sent to block a critical artery. This is not a slow, decades-long process. This is an acute crisis precipitated by the synergy of two common and often overlooked daily habits. It is the overnight risk made frighteningly real. First defense. So how do we dismantle this perfect storm? We begin by addressing the first ingredient with a profound and simple act of self-care: proactive hydration. The solution is not merely to drink when you are thirsty, but to cultivate a ritual of consistent, intelligent hydration that supports your body's river of life throughout the entire day. Your first defense begins the moment you wake up. You have just gone 6 to 8 hours without any fluid intake. Your body and brain are in their most dehydrated state of the day. Before you reach for that cup of coffee, which is a diuretic and can further dehydrate you, your very first act should be to drink a large glass of pure, clean water. Think of it as re-inflating the system, thinning the blood, and preparing the river for the day ahead. But hydration is not just about drinking water. One of the most effective strategies is to eat your water. Many fruits and vegetables are incredibly rich in water, but it is water that is structured and packaged with essential electrolytes and fiber. Cucumbers, celery, watermelons, strawberries, and oranges are all fantastic sources of hydrating fluids that the body absorbs efficiently. Make these foods a staple of your diet, and you will be hydrating yourself from the inside out with every meal. It's also critical to understand the role of electrolytes, the minerals like potassium and sodium that govern fluid balance. Our diets are often overloaded with sodium and deficient in potassium. You can help restore this balance by consuming potassium-rich foods like bananas, avocados, spinach, and sweet potatoes. You can create your own simple vitality elixir to start your day. To your large glass of morning water, add a small pinch of natural sea salt, which contains trace minerals, and a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice, a good source of potassium and vitamin C. This simple combination helps your body to absorb and retain the water more effectively than plain water alone, providing a superior level of hydration. By making conscious, proactive hydration a non-negotiable part of your daily ritual, you are taking the most powerful first step in ensuring your blood remains fluid and your river of life flows freely and safely. Sacred sleep. Having secured our hydration, we must now turn our attention to the second pillar of our defense: sacred sleep. We must stop treating sleep as a luxury or something to be shortchanged in the name of productivity. We must reconsecrate it as a non-negotiable and essential biological process, as important as breathing and eating. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night is not an indulgence. It is one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your brain. This means cultivating an environment and a routine that signal to your body and mind that it is time for this crucial work to begin. This starts with managing light. Our brains are exquisitely sensitive to light. The blue light emitted from our phones, tablets, and computers is particularly powerful at tricking the brain into thinking it's still daytime, which suppresses the release of melatonin, the hormone that governs our sleep-wake cycles. Make a firm commitment to put away all screens at least an hour, and ideally 2 hours, before you plan to go to sleep. Use this time for quiet, relaxing activities. Read a physical book, listen to calm music, take a warm bath with Epsom salts, which are rich in magnesium, a mineral that helps to calm the nervous system. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep. It should be as dark as possible, as cool as possible, and as quiet as possible. Invest in blackout curtains. Turn the thermostat down by a few degrees. Consider using a white noise machine or earplugs to block out disruptive sounds. And strive for consistency. Try to go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time every day, even on weekends. This helps to set your body's internal clock or circadian rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up naturally. By treating your sleep as sacred, you are ensuring that your brain's vital glymphatic sanitation system has the full opportunity to do its nightly cleaning, washing away the toxins that contribute to an inflamed and vulnerable brain environment. Food's fluidity. Finally, we must integrate this knowledge with the foundational principle of all my work: food as medicine. The choices we make at the dinner table can either contribute to a state of thick, inflammatory blood, or they can promote a state of healthy, fluid circulation. A diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats promotes chronic inflammation, which is a primary driver of vascular damage and dysfunction. Conversely, a diet rich in whole, Plant-based foods can create a powerful systemic defense for your entire vascular ecosystem. Certain foods are true superstars when it comes to promoting healthy blood flow and maintaining the fluidity of your blood. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like wild-caught salmon, sardines, chia seeds, and walnuts, are brilliant for this. Omega-3s have a natural, gentle, anti-inflammatory effect and have been shown to make platelets, a type of blood cell involved in clotting, less sticky. They help to keep the blood flowing smoothly. We should also actively seek out foods that boost our body's own production of that miracle molecule, nitric oxide. As we know, nitric oxide is our body's master vasodilator, helping our arteries to relax and widen. Foods like beets, dark leafy greens like arugula and spinach, garlic and pomegranates provide the raw materials your body needs to manufacture its own nitric oxide, keeping your vessels flexible and responsive. Let us also celebrate the power of spices. Turmeric, with its active compound curcumin, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents on the planet. Ginger is another powerful anti-inflammatory and can also have mild blood-thinning properties. And we must not forget flavonoids, the colorful compounds found in berries, citrus fruits, dark chocolate, and green tea. These are powerful antioxidants that protect the delicate endothelial lining of your blood vessels from oxidative damage, the biological rusting that makes them stiff and dysfunctional. By building your diet around these protective, nourishing foods, you are creating a body that is fundamentally more resilient. You are supporting your angiogenesis, immunity, and DNA protection systems all at once, creating an internal environment where a perfect storm is far less likely to ever form. Innate agency. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still, our bodies are undergoing a profound and hidden drama. The knowledge we have uncovered today is not meant to instill a new fear of the night, but to awaken a powerful new sense of agency over your own well-being. It is a testament to the fact that our health is not determined by chance, but sculpted by the small, consistent, and often simple choices we make every single day. The shocking habit is not one of dramatic, reckless behavior. It is a quiet neglect of the body's most basic needs: water and rest. It is a story of how the mundane can become magnificent in its importance. Let this understanding empower you. Let it transform the simple act of drinking a glass of water from a chore into a conscious act of protecting your brain. Let it transform your decision to go to bed on time from a matter of discipline into an act of profound self-respect for the miraculous cleaning rituals that happen within your mind while you sleep. You are the steward of this incredible ecosystem. You have the ability to ensure that its rivers run clean and free, and that its nights are filled with restorative healing. This is not about a radical overhaul of your life. It's about a subtle but powerful shift in awareness. It is about listening to the gentle whispers of your body before they are forced to become a scream. It is about honoring the elegant, interconnected wisdom of your health defense systems. The path to a long and vital life, free from the shadow of stroke, is paved not with fear, but with knowledge. It is built not on complex protocols, but on the simple, loving, and consistent care for the only true home you will ever have: your own remarkable body. The way this connected dehydration and poor sleep to the viscosity of blood, creating a perfect storm in the early morning, was stunning. It's so logical, yet I'd never heard it explained that way. What was the specific connection in this story that truly clicked for you?